Yes, welcome to Dundalk. You've already seen those pictures of the presidential motorcade. The beast, the president, he's out there somewhere coming around the corner. This situation really couldn't be much more in contrast with the situation in Belfast up north. Hundreds, probably thousands of people on the streets. The president is obviously going to sweep up here in a few minutes, talk to these good people around us, give me an exclusive interview and so forth. Totally different then from the situation in the north. That was a very short visit, not much more than a stopover, let's be frank. And unlike the visit down here, it did not pass without political controversy. Even Downing Street recognises this presidential visit is all about the Republic. It's about the south of Ireland, Ireland itself. That is why the President primarily has come here. But it's not lost on many people. There'll be high-level talks down here with politicians who do go to their parliament, unlike the situation up north.
Morning.
First off, the coffee meeting. Some small talk is usual as the media do their stuff. Here, though, rictus grins and silence. However, Downing Street insists their meeting was productive, overran, and touched on the need to get politics functioning here again urgently.
I know he shares my ambition to see the institutions here back up and running. That's what people and businesses in Northern Ireland deserve.
Outside, the extensive security cordon and power sharing here, like the streets, a damaging world of shutdown.
The President of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
Biden met party leaders here, said hello, said goodbye. What more can he do, bar off of words?
As a friend, I hope it's not too presumptuous for me to say that I believe democratic institutions established through the Good Friday Agreement remain critical to the future of Northern Ireland. It's a decision for you to make, not for me to make.
Tetchiness surrounding this visit surfaced again this morning. Former Democratic Unionist leader Arlene Foster accusing Biden of hating the UK. The Americans rebuffed this with vigorous denials this morning. Ulster University in Belfast and the president's sole vaguely public appearance. The tone warm, the research impeccable. Hailing Belfast barista come film star James Martin.
The star of the recent Oscar-winning film and someone of Belfast barista James Martin is here today. James, where are you? I got to meet James and I got my picture taken and we're going to home and brag to my daughter.
Then, quiet, insistent and emphatic support for EU-UK moves to break the Brexit trade quagmire here.
The Windsor Framework addresses the practical realities of Brexit and it's an essential step to ensuring hard-earned peace and progress to the Good Friday Agreements.
Now that, of course, puts the US at odds with the Democratic Unionists who have yet to accept the European trade deal and get back into power sharing and reopening the Northern Ireland Assembly.
I had a brief conversation with the President and he made clear that it's not his job, as we heard in his speech, to take decisions for political leaders in Northern Ireland, but that the United States stands ready to support Northern Ireland in whatever way it can.
Thank you all for listening, and may God bring you the peace we need. Thank you.
And that's it, he's off. The here today, gone today president, just 17 hours in the north of Ireland. And now what follows is a 2.5-day full-scale state visit in the south. He undeniably delivered a powerful message for peace, politics and prosperity here in the north of Ireland. But to many, the visit and the time and the shortness of it will seem something of a damp squib, perhaps even a snub.
Downing Street accepts the big Biden thing this time is Ireland, not the UK. So to the beast and wheels up for Air Force One to Dublin early afternoon, after what was stopover, not state visit. To the real purpose, Dublin, the Republic, the family heritage, and 100,000 welcomes, Irish state style. Right down to authentic Irish weather for the motorcade north to Carlingford. And the first of scores of engagements, top-level tourism, state banquets, speeches,
How you doing?
and talks with politicians in a place where the Parliament is working.
Well, that was Alex Thompson. Of course, he's standing by in Dundalk for us. Now, let's just bring you up to date with what President Biden's been doing in the last few hours. We're trying to sort of catch up with him as he's racing around this glorious island. He was in Carlingford Castle a few hours ago. Carlingford Castle, national monument here, built in the late 12th century, most likely by the Norman Baron Hugh de Lacy. And due to rebellion against the Crown King, John of England seized the property in 1210. There's Biden there with a hat on, reportedly stayed in the castle himself, which is why the locals refer to it as King John's Castle. Well, now it's President Biden's castle, just for a few hours. And, of course, in Dundalk, we have Alex Thompson. In Dundalk at the moment, as we speak, is Joe Biden, President Biden. There he is. You can see him. He's shaking hands. He's got that baseball cap on still. Shaking hands, meeting the locals. This is the part of the trip that he was really looking forward to, isn't it, Alex? Alex, are you there?
I am, yeah. I mean, I think it's fair to say the president went out of his way in his speech, in his remarks today, to say this was the key element of his speech. And when some people were pointing out or feeling that the shortness of the visit in the north was a snub, Downing Street were quick to come on back and say, look, the point is he's brought his family over here. The real event, even as Downing Street was seeing it, was here in the Irish Republic. And that's the way it's turned out. I mean, look at it. He had one small visit with a very invited audience of politicians and business leaders this morning and students in the gallery in Belfast, and that was absolutely it. There was nothing like this. I mean, this is Dundalk, small town, not far from the border with the north of Ireland. And as you can see, hundreds, thousands of people have turned out, and he's due up this street any minute now. Back to you, Matt.
And obviously he's waiting to speak to you, Alex. Lucky him. Now, of course, it's worth saying that he's not the first Irish-American president to come to this island. Kennedy famously came in 1963, just after his visit, his famous visit to Berlin. And then, of course, we had President Obama. That's not O''Obama, but Obama. He was here, and President Clinton was here. He was instrumental in trying to get the Good Friday Agreement on the table. Well, earlier I spoke to Sinn Féin's Stormont leader, Michelle O'Neill, and Kate Nicholl from the Alliance Party. Starting with Michelle O'Neill, I asked them what it had been like to meet President Joe Biden today.
Well, it's obviously a very special moment, the fact that the President has chosen to visit Ireland this week, and particularly the year that's in it, the 25th anniversary.
But what did you feel here? In your heart? He likes to talk about heart and soul. What
yes,
did you
and
feel?
he very much connects with people in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a very special moment. I felt it. I felt that everything that he said really resonates with what I'm trying to achieve here. He talked about reflecting the last 25 years of our peace agreement and how amazing that's been and how transformative it's been. But what I really liked was that he was focused on the future and the next 25 years, and particularly speaking to the young people that were in the audience around, you know, what we can achieve together if we work hard together. So,
but what he did say is that practical commitment, you know, the coffers will open once you've got your politics here sorted out, and they're not sorted out. So do you think he should have done more to try and, you know, bring the power sharing agreement back to life?
Well, it's for the parties here to make politics work, and obviously the DUP walked away from power sharing. They said they did so in order to influence negotiations between the British government and the EU. That's now concluded. So the real question now for the DUP is, are they prepared to share power with the rest of us and actually, you know, get it down to making the political situation here work?
He was here for 16 hours. He spent, let's say, 8 hours of those asleep. I mean, this is basically a refueling stop for him with a sleepover.
Well, I would take a lot more from it from that. Now, I think that would be to dismiss the fact that the President of the United States has decided to visit Ireland for a 4-day visit. I've heard him today in Belfast. I'll hear him tomorrow in Dublin.
3 days in the Republic, but, you know, barely a day here.
And I've heard him here today. I've engaged with him here today. I'll see him again tomorrow in Dublin on 2 different events. One when he addresses the Dáil, and tomorrow evening at a Taoiseach reception. So I'm going to maximise the most out of this visit. The fact that he has announced the special envoy, and Joe Kennedy speaks to investment, speaks to potential.
And yet the American president wields enormous influence. And when the Good Friday Agreement was forged, Bill Clinton spent a lot of time on the phone making sure that that agreement would cross the line. Would you like to have seen Joe Biden invest the same amount of energy and time, political effort, into making sure that the power sharing agreement comes back to life?
I think that there is no question of the American administration and the President's commitment to the Good Friday Agreement. I think that over the course of the whole of it,
graft, hard work.
And this is graft and this is hard work. Defence of the Good Friday Agreement is the most important piece of work, I think, particularly from an American administration. And over the course of the Brexit debate, which has been, quite divisive over the course of that whole 7-year period of time, the American administration have been steadfast in protection of the Good Friday Agreement and making it very clear to the British government that there will be no trade arrangement between themselves and the British government if they'd cause jeopardy or damage to the Good Friday Agreement. It doesn't come stronger than that.
Finally, Michelle O'Neill, is there anything you can say to the DUP that you haven't said already that could bring them back into the fold?
I think it's the public that the DUP should speak to. The public are frustrated at the lack of an executive, so the onus is on them to join the rest of us who are ready and willing to be in a power-shared executive.
But you want to do the job that you were elected for. You must be desperate.
Of course I want to do the job I was elected to do. I was given a very strong mandate last year. I should be in position as First Minister today. That needs to happen. Now, the deal has been done on the Windsor framework, so that curtain is now closed. So it's now time for the British government and the Irish government to work together, but the DUP need to come into the executive and join the rest of us, and let's get down to taking on the issues that matter to the public right now, the things that they're worried about, the health service needing to be fixed. These are really, really crucial things that we all should be collectively working on. I'm not giving up because I'm on the side of the public.
Oh, I was delighted to meet him. I got to chat to him at the end and he was very personable. I thanked him for coming to Belfast. I thanked him for his interest and support in the people of Northern Ireland, and we had a good chat about Irish mummies. I'm a mum of 2 kids, and he was telling us some stories about his own mother, so a very nice man.
And are you disappointed that he was only here for, 16 hours or so and spent quite a few of them asleep?
Listen, it's an honour to have a visit from a US president, and we can't downplay that. It was disappointing that we couldn't have that visit in the Northern Ireland Assembly. I wish the institutions were up and running.
Disappointing and embarrassing, perhaps? I mean, the President of the United States comes to Belfast and there's no assembly, it's padlocked.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is embarrassing. But it was really wonderful to see the President here, to hear him say that he still has faith and that he wants people to invest in Northern Ireland.
Because what President Biden effectively said today is that this place has a great future, but unless you politicians get your act together, American money and business won't be flowing into this place.
When you look at what happened in the last 25 years, the amount of foreign direct investment that's come from America that has been reinvested in Northern Ireland, people believe in Northern Ireland. They want to come here, they want to invest here because we have brilliant people, we have amazing skills, brilliant universities. It's the best place to be.
But you need the politics.
But we need the politics to be sorted out.
Okay, and then you have Sir Geoffrey Donaldson saying, head of the DUP, saying, well, actually, great to have him here, wonderful visit, but it didn't move the dial. It didn't fundamentally change the political dynamic here.
It's very hard to know what is going to get the DUP over the line. All I can do is speak from an alliance perspective, the growing middle ground, people who voted for change, for politicians who get things done, and they want better than this. There are 5 political parties. We keep talking about the DUP and what the DUP want and what the DUP are going to do. The majority of people in Northern Ireland want a functioning assembly, and they want their politicians to work, which is what we want to do and what the President made very clear that he thinks we should do.
Kate Nicholl there from the Alliance Party. Well, American presidents, as you know by now, travel with a gigantic circus of Secret Service advisors, journalists, and often relatives, in this case all encamped in Belfast's luxurious Grand Central Hotel. And it's amazing who you bump into in the lobby, like the president's influential sister, Valerie Biden. Hello. Did you enjoy your time?
We're just getting ready to raise the hotel. It's going to be great.
Raise a bit of hell. She didn't elaborate, but I suspect she had a pint or 2 of Guinness in mind.